Thank you, Speaker. Councillor Thompson alluded to how Jaye could be firm. And from time to time, Jaye was firm with me. But I wanted to talk about 3 moments in her career where the city is better off because, unlike many people in politics, people here at Toronto City Council can see past those divisions. And there were 3 times when Jaye saw past, the kind of ideological divide that people imagine we have in politics, but we don't actually have. And the first of them was fairly early in her career. People forget or didn't know, who didn't serve on council when Rob Ford was mayor, the extent to which we were just paralyzed. It was impossible to know how to govern the City of Toronto with a mayor mired in a scandal that wasn't local, wasn't national, it was global. Literally, we would all try to find routes into the building to avoid Korean television cameras. We were paralyzed. We were absolutely paralyzed. The person who broke the logjam was Jaye Robinson. Jaye sat on Rob Ford's executive committee, and when City Hall was frozen and unable to move, Jaye very bravely got up, did a press conference and called on Mayor Ford to take a leave of absence from council and let us govern in his stead. She was immediately kicked off the executive committee. She was politically punished. But it was that moment of courage, which was about the city, it wasn't about left or right, it was about the city, that enabled council to find a path to come together to govern, despite the fact that the mayor of the day was incapable of leading council. It's that commitment to the city overcoming her own interests, ideological boundaries, and just thinking about the good of Torontonians that Jaye demonstrated in that moment that I think we all have to carry with us always in this work. The next instance, some of you may know, I come originally out of the environmental movement, and for years the environmental movement in Toronto had been working for a transportation system that was sustainable and didn't kill people. And we had been working, trying to reduce speeds on roads, trying to get more investment in public transit, with some, mixed success, I'd ask you to think, each of you, about whether or not you've had a community meeting in the last year or two where you've been talking about changes on local streets in order to achieve Vision Zero. That one thing Jaye did, working with Mayor Tory, the next mayor in her career, to change the way we talk about transportation, so it's literally about not killing people, has transformed every street in my ward. All the speed limits went from 40 to 30. The road designs all changed now. Every time we redesign a road, we design for the most vulnerable user first, for safety. Progressive environmentalists were unable to do that until Jaye Robinson stood up in a only Nixon can go to China moment and said, this is the future we will have. And it now affects every decision on every street that the City of Toronto takes. A remarkable accomplishment. Again, because she put her vision of the city ahead of supposed boundaries on who does what here. And finally, you'll remember the ice storm debate. That was a cranky meeting. That was a very cranky meeting. If you recall, we had trees down all over the city, power was out, 311 was shaky on its feet, and people didn't know when they would be able to leave their homes and when power would be restored. Jaye very cleverly, as an environmentalist, took that moment to say, and the City of Toronto will have 30% of its space covered by tree canopy. Just sort of slip that in a debate about a different thing. And as a result of that, tree protection has grown tremendously, tree planting has grown tremendously, our expectations for what developers do on the lands around their buildings has changed tremendously. It's a subtle thing, it's an abstract thing, but it's one of the things that will prepare us for the changing climate that we're in. It's one of the things that will make Toronto livable for generations to come. And again, it's not the thing that you expect from someone who sat on the executive committee with 2 Conservative mayors. Again, it's an example of how Jaye saw beyond those, rigid political lines and saw a way for her to contribute to making the city a better place for everyone to live. To Jaye's family and friends, she made a profound difference in the city we live in today, but also the city that my grandchildren, I hope, will be living in. Thank you very much for sharing, Jaye, with us, and my condolences on your loss.
Thank you.